Discussion about my leadership philosophy is complete without mentioning my sons and my husband Mike. Now Rich wanted me to tell you my story, and now I have. So how does this apply to this book? I'm going to try to connect the dots. Visionary leaders start by looking at the man or woman in the mirror and taking a careful, true look at what you do and how you act and what you believe. Transforming leaders believe the impossible becomes the inevitable. One of Stephen Covey's first major points in this book, and one that I believe to be most important for us to keep in mind, is that over time, the personal ethics of society have changed. Up to World War I, we exercised what Ben Franklin defined as the character ethic. We were concerned with integrity, humility, modesty, justice, courage, patience, and the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. After World War I, the ethics changed from a character ethic, this is across the world, to a personality ethic. Now we're focused on the personality of image, attitudes and behaviors, skills and techniques, and positive mental attitude. Sound familiar, folks? Have you heard that? Maybe on the surface those are bad attributes, but as Ben Franklin will say, only basic goodness gives any life to any strategy or technique you ever apply. So what struck me about this is that my mother and father must have known Ben Franklin on a pretty personal basis. Because the points of that character ethic were what was expected of me from the day I was born. You simply did what was honest and right, and you never questioned helping your fellow man. My mother often says that at age 3, I had this strong sense of justice, always for the underdog, and that my world was simple. It was black or white. It was right or wrong. Now, Covey's point is that erosion from the character ethic to the personality ethic has affected leadership styles, starting from parenting all the way up to leading organizations. And that human nature can only flourish when good is at the center. Let's think about the state of everything going on in the world today, folks. So the title, let's start with the man or woman in the mirror, starts with the 7 habits of highly effective people. 3 of these habits are personal habits, and 4 of these are public habits, or public victories. You have to develop your own private way of doing things and stick with it before you can develop those public victories. And those 2 habits I'm going to talk about today are being proactive and beginning with the end in mind. Now, as human beings, this is so easy to understand, but it's just something we miss sometimes. We are responsible for our lives. Our behavior is a function of our decisions, not our conditions. I'm going to repeat that. As human beings, we are responsible for our lives. Our behavior is a function of our decisions, not our conditions. And to put in perspective, what do we mean by conditions? There's 3 general theories. Our decisions are controlled by one or all the following. Genetics, we were born with it. Psychic, our parents did it to us because they raised us this way. Or environmental, it's because I've got a bad boss, the weather's bad, my children, whatever it takes in the environment. A proactive person does not hide behind any of those conditions to excuse behavior. A proactive person takes responsibility for his own life, and a behavior is a function of our choices and not our conditions. Think about the word responsibility. This is such a good point. Responsibility is the ability to choose your response in any circumstance. It is our human nature to be proactive, and when we've moved to this personality ethic, we're getting away from that human nature. As Eleanor Roosevelt said, no one can hurt you without your consent. Visionary leaders practice proactivity on a daily basis by being responsible for their own decisions. I'm going to give you a couple of examples of that in my lifetime, but I'm going to give you that, first of all, some language. A reactive person, which is opposite of proactive, blames everything on everything around them. I can't do that because my boss is bad. I can't do that because my child did this. I can't do that because of the way I was raised. You folks think about it when you're sitting here at this table. Do you have people you work with that act that way? A proactive person always believes they can do it. They just have to figure out how. So this is the language. Reactive, there's nothing I can do. Proactive, let's look at the alternatives. Reactive, that's just the way I am. Proactive, I can choose a different approach. Reactive, he makes me so mad. Proactive, I can control my feelings.